justify their work or face termination. Musk is not a cabinet-level official and faced no approval by the U.S. Senate, and the White House has claimed in court papers that he is not in charge of DOGE, even though Trump has said he is, and Musk aides staff DOGE. Later on Wednesday, Trump signed an executive order directing agencies to work with DOGE to review and terminate all unnecessary contracts, and instructing the General Services Administration, which manages the government's real estate, to create a plan for disposing of any unneeded property. Thus far, Trump and Musk have failed to slow the rate of spending. According to a reporter's analysis, the government spent 13% more during Trump's first month in office than during the same time last year, largely due to higher interest payments on the debt and rising health and retirement costs incurred by an aging population. Dishwasher-sized NASA satellite was launched into space from Florida on Wednesday to identify where water, a precious resource for lunar missions, resides on the moon's surface in places such as the permanently shadowed craters at its poles. A SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket lifted off from the Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral, carrying NASA's Lunar Trailblazer orbiter. The Lunar Trailblazer spacecraft was built by Lockheed Martin Space Division. The satellite was a secondary payload on board the rocket, with the primary payload being a lunar lander mission led by machines. The lunar surface is often thought of as arid, but previous measurements have found the presence of some water, even in warmer sun-lit locations. In cold and permanently shadowed places at the lunar poles, it has long been hypothesized that there could be significant amounts of water ice. Lunar Trailblazer, which weighs about 440 pounds, 200 kg, and measures about 11.5 feet, 3.5 meters wide when its solar panels are fully deployed, is being sent to find and map this water on the moon's surface. For future moon exploration, including potential long-term lunar bases staffed by astronauts, lunar water would be of vital importance because it could be processed not only as a drinking supply, but also into breathable oxygen and hydrogen fuel for rockets. The bottoms of hundreds of craters at the moon's south pole, for instance, are permanently shadowed and may hold ice patches. Some water also may be locked inside broken rock and dust on the lunar surface. Lunar Trailblazer is scheduled to perform a series of moon flybys and looping orbits over a span of several months to position itself to map the surface in detail. It eventually will orbit at an altitude of roughly 60 miles, 100 kilometers, and collect high-resolution images of targeted areas to determine the form, distribution, and abundance of water, and to better understand the lunar water cycle. Canadian regulators said on Wednesday it will impose a fee on Google to recover the cost of enforcing a law that requires large internet platforms to pay for news content on their website. The imposition of the levy on the Mountain View, California-based search engine giant, comes at a time of increased tension between Canada and the United States over trade, border security, and a digital service tax on U.S. technology firms. The Canadian Radio, Television and Telecommunications Commission said the vast majority of its operations are funded by fees charged to the companies. It will come into effect from April 1. The charge may vary from year to year and does not have an upper limit. The CRTC finalized the rule after a period of public consultations during which Google intervened to argue against its implementation, saying it was not a rational approach to impose 100% of the cost on one entity, part of a global trend to make internet giants pay for news. Canada passed a law last year to address media industry concerns that tech companies were elbowing news business out of the online advertising market. Only Alphabet, Google, and Facebook parent Meta met the threshold of a large enough company that would need to pay news organizations. Google, after months of negotiations with the government, agreed to pay $100 million annually in a deal with publishers to keep news stories in search results. Meta, however, decided to block news from its Facebook and Instagram platforms in Canada to avoid payments. Google, among other comments in its submissions to the CRTC, argued the rule was an unfair additional regulatory burden on a company that has continued to support the news ecosystem in this country. In a policy notice posted on its website on Wednesday, the CRTC said due to the structure of the Online News Act, the recovery cost can only be levied on the digital platform to which the law applies. Pentagon plans to kick out currently 7 transgender service members who don't meet specific requirements under its new policy, according to official guidance made public in a Wednesday court filing. Service members who have a current diagnosis or history of or exhibit symptoms consistent with gender dysphoria will be processed for separation from military service, says a memo outlining the policy, which was signed by the official performing the duties of the Undersecretary of Defense for Personnel and Readiness. The memo was included in a court lawsuit over the Pentagon's policy. The department only recognizes 2 sexes, male and female, the policy memo says. An individual's sex is immutable, unchanging during a person's life. All service members will only serve in accordance with their sex. The policy guidance follows an executive order signed by President Donald Trump in January, directing the Pentagon to implement its own policies that